everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be, wait, that's not even it. What am I meant to say? I've forgotten my intro. Hello everybody, welcome to Mocking Ariana 3. It's Sunday, which means a new video. In today's video we're going to be ranking the studio heads of the next step from best to worst, but also the choreographers of the next step, so kind of like the studio heads, right hand woman or right hand man. Actually, even though I've just said I'm going to rank them, I don't know whether it's better for a studio head to be objective, where they kind of just care about whether the studio succeeds or fails, or whether it's better for them to be subjective and really care about the dancers as a priority. So I'm not going to rank them because I'm still in two minds over what makes a great studio head, but I'm more so going to just discuss the pros and cons of each studio head, which might help me make up my mind by the end of this video. I'm just going to go in a completely random order, like in the way that I've got them written down here. So we're going to start with Michelle. Michelle was the studio head of TNS West in season 5, and she also She co-ran the studio with Emily. Yeah, she was the co-studio head with Emily in season 6. Michelle really cared about her dancers in season 5, and I think that's what made her really good as a studio head, because she cared about her dancers. It wasn't just like their machines trying to get the next step to win. She knew each dancer individually and really wanted to work with them and make sure that they were happy. An example of her really caring is at the first hearing of Lola possibly being injured. When Heather told her, she immediately said, right, you're not doing the video, you need to focus on your health, which I thought was really brave, because obviously they needed all their dancers for this video, but Michelle knew that the welfare of her dancers came first. She also really went out on a limb when she created TNS West, because obviously it wasn't a troupe. Miss Kate didn't fund it, there was no money in it, there was no real stability with it. It wasn't known whether it was even going to be successful, but she did it anyway. She really worked hard because she believed in the dancers that she had on her team.
You guys have passion, you have creativity, you have heart, you love to dance, and so do I, and we're all here for the same reason. Who wants to join my troupe?
The only thing that I think is kind of Michelle's weakness is that she is possibly too cautious sometimes. Like, she just is so scared of failure and backlash that she is sometimes over conscious of certain things. And I think this is because obviously when she was younger at the next step, she was very much watching her back all the time to check that the e-girls weren't messing with her, or that they weren't trying to embarrass her. So she's always been very conscious and constantly looking over her shoulder, and I think that's why she is the way she is now. An example is how Piper really wanted to change the choreography of the finals dance in season 6 because she wasn't confident in herself with it, and Michelle immediately went, yeah, sure, you're not confident, that's okay, we'll change it. Whereas Emily was like, no, I believe in you, and this choreography is what we need to win, so you're gonna do it.
Okay, great, that's the solution. So we'll just change that section of choreography.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
No. The choreo we have now is a winning routine.
So yeah, I think sometimes Michelle doesn't have the studio's best interests at heart, and instead has the dancers, which can be seen as a positive, but it could also be seen as a negative, because ultimately the next step is a business that needs to succeed with the dancers rather than the dancers succeeding in the studio failing. Next, with Michelle comes Emily. They're the ultimate duo. They are the next step. I really enjoyed Emily being studio head in season 5 and season 6, where she was co-studio head with Michelle. It could be said that Emily cares about the studio more than she cares about the dancers though, especially in season 5, where she was like, I don't want any hip-hop dancers on my team because they're not technical enough and they're not going to help us win.
Unfortunately, we're not going to be asking any of you to dance today, but we would be more than happy to see you on our B Troupe. Thank you so much for coming.
Miss Kate tasked me with getting the studio ready for regionals. We are not gonna win with break dancers or hip hop dancers or J troopers like Ozzy. So they gotta go.
What? No, that's crazy. You didn't even let them on.
I felt like that was a very uncharacteristic move of Emily though in season 5, so I don't really like to acknowledge it too much. I'm just thinking that's not... Emily was having a bad day when she said that. But she did truly show that she cared in season 6 when Piper was struggling, like I just said with Michelle. She went backstage and gave Piper this lovely pep talk, which I don't think old Emily would have done whatsoever. So I think definitely working with Michelle has mellowed her a little bit and helped her to see that the next step is more than just a studio. It's, you know, it's about the dancers as well as the building and the business. So I think that's why Emily and Michelle worked so well together overall as studio heads. So Emily has her pros and cons, but I think what has made her the best studio head she can be is the fact that she has Michelle as her wing woman, to kind of bring this softer side while Emily's kind of the tough nut. Same with Michelle though, like Michelle is sometimes too caring, so working with Emily has made her a little bit stricter and a bit more like a leader rather than trying to be the dancers' friends. Next is our OGs. We have Chris and Kate, or Kate and Chris. Yeah, Kate and Chris sounds better. Kate has always had a close bond with her dancers. You could tell in season 1 and the seasons from that everyone at the next step loves her. They really respect her as well. Same with Chris. Like, Chris was a lot more easygoing and liked to have a laugh with the dancers, whereas Kate was the more serious one. Kind of like Michelle and Emily, you've got that odd couple like dynamic. Sometimes though, Kate wasn't very sympathetic with the dancers, in the same way as Emily, and she jumped to conclusions quite a lot. Like when the money went missing, she immediately thought it would be Chloe because Chloe had financial issues in the past, which was very unfair to think because Chloe's done nothing but support Kate and really work hard for her.
Last chance. Did you take the money?
I didn't take it. I know that I don't have money, but I wouldn't do that to Miss Kate.
So yeah, sometimes Kate had her downfalls, but ultimately it's evident that she really cares about the studio, which is great. Chris was really understanding and really had a bond with the dancers, especially James. I remember when James was struggling with his schooling, Chris volunteered to help him, and he made a deal with his mom, things like that. Like, he was very close to the dancers and didn't just see them as just dancers that came and left every day.
After today, I'll be helping James out with his homework every day after dance rehearsal.
And he's good at math, too.
James?
I need you to guarantee me that you're going to be able to listen to Chris, that you're going to be able to buckle down.
Guaranteed, I promise. I love you, Mom.
I'd say his only downside was that he wasn't there very long. He was only there for season 1, because he gave the dancers the opportunities they needed. He was there for them when they needed him. I honestly can't fault Chris, really. Next we have Lucien, and Lucien actually isn't a bad guy. I'm not gonna say that he was just a terrible studio head, because I don't think he was. He was very clever in, the fact that he got Elite to a great level. Like, they're a well-respected studio. Everyone knows who Elite are. They were really good. They were really uniform. Their dances were all spectacular. He was really good at his job. But Lucien's downfall is obviously that he isn't very nice as a person. Like, when Sierra and Skylar didn't want to compete against each other, so they'd rather just do it privately, or they both just wanted to drop out so it would be fair, he was like, no, if you don't compete, then you're not coming back to Elite at all, which is not very nice, obviously. And also, he's obviously a massive snake, and he was really conniving and went behind the next step, tried to take them down multiple times. But if you think of it from like an Elite point of view, he was a good studio head for them, because he stopped at nothing to make sure that they were at the top, and they were at the top of their game. And the studio head who was only in it for a little bit is Miss Angela. Miss Angela was the studio head for the next step temporarily, while Miss Kate was making a decision. Yeah, she was deciding who would be the studio head at the next step instead of Emily and Michelle after she fired them in season 5. And Miss Angela also, I don't think she was all bad. I think she did really just want the next step to win so that it would make her look good, which isn't great, but it would ultimately help the next step win, so it is kind of good. I think the only problem with Miss Angela though is that she doesn't feel dance. I think she just knows that dance is able to propel her? I can't even think of the word. Dance is able to give Miss Angela a name, so she liked the fact that dance could do that for her. Like, she knew she was good at her job and it would make her look good if she helped the next step, rather than wanting to help the next step because they deserved help, sort of. Yeah, I really didn't like, though, the way she carried herself or the way she spoke to people, especially Piper. Like, Piper couldn't do an aerial, so she made her practice it over and over again in front of everyone while everyone else did planks. Like, that's not the way to teach people. That's just gonna, well, it did hurt Piper's confidence a lot. So I didn't like her for that. But I thought that her dances that she did with Encore in season 6 regionals were all amazing. They're really good. I especially liked the one where they were all in blue costumes. That was one of my favourites, I think, from regionals. So I'll give her some props, but I wouldn't want her to come back and be the studio head. I actually forgot to talk about Riley in this video, so I'm just doing a voiceover right now and I'm going to talk about her while inserting some clips. I think a big part of Riley being studio head was wanting to make everyone at the next step proud of her, because obviously she'd been there since she was really young, and when you have an offer like that from Miss Kate, who has been her role model and like teacher for ages, she obviously wouldn't want to let her down. So I think she was kind of in a muddle over, basically there was like no way out. I think she felt a lot of pressure to take the role and do the best job she could, but ultimately I don't think it was meant to be. I think Kate put too much responsibility on a young dancer's shoulders. Riley had never been dance captain, let alone a studio head, so it was just a bit ridiculous.
It's because I'm running the whole studio, and regionals are coming, and there's so much paperwork to fill out and problems to deal with, and oh yeah, the scheduling nightmares? What else? Oh yes, right, trying to figure out teams and transportation and the day-to-day maintenance of the studio. Oh, and maybe the fact that I've never done anything like this before in my entire life.
I know, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Riley did make some good decisions though, so I'm not going to knock her for everything. Like, she chose Rochelle, Noah and Piper for the trio instead of putting Sloane in it, and she hurt Sloane's feelings in the way, but she knew that it would be the best thing for the studio. But a lot of her decisions were made in a rush and without properly thinking them through. So yeah, there's more cons than pros to Riley's studio headship. I think she could have been a lot better though if she had like an assistant, like even a dance captain and a head choreographer to help her, because she pretty much was just by herself and she had to frequently go to her friends and ask for help, like Michelle and Amanda, and then obviously she relied on James and Alfie a lot. So yeah, just reliving Riley's role as studio head is just pretty cringy really, because I feel so sorry for her that she couldn't do it to the best of her ability, but I just don't think it was meant to be. Some bad decisions she made was taking Amanda out of the finals routine even though they had an alternate that should have been taken out, and she let Michelle dance even though she'd just literally been in the hospital, which wasn't a good idea. She also let LaTroy dance even though he hadn't even been at the studio for months, like he was away with his dad. And she also had a relationship with one of the dancers, so that's pretty unprofessional, and she was just preoccupied with the whole Alfie James situation. So ultimately she wasn't a good studio head, and she's not all to blame. I feel like there was just too much put on her at the wrong time in her life, and she wasn't prepared well enough really. Then we have the right hand women and right hand men, who are the choreographers alongside the studio heads. So we have Phoebe, Daniel and West. So let's start with Phoebe. Phoebe wasn't in the show for very long and we didn't really see much of her in terms of choreographing. I mean, we saw her choreograph the auditions, but after that I don't think we actually saw her do anything.
5, 6, 7, 8. This goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn 5, 6. Hit it 7, 8.
How is this even possible?
So I can't really rate her, I don't think, because I didn't really see her do her job. But she was very nice, and I think she offered a real contrast from Kate, who's quite serious. So that was really good for the dancers. But yeah, I don't really know if she offered the next step anything in terms of her skills, because we didn't really see her. Like, we can't just say, oh yeah, she choreographed the nationals routines, which were great, because we didn't see her do that. So I don't want to just say, yeah, she did a great job. She was okay for me. I am able to rank West and Daniel in terms of their choreographic roles. I think West was a lot better than Daniel. West really took time to understand his dancers on TNS West, because for example Kingston, who had never been to a dance studio and was self-taught, he was really behind everyone else, but West took the time to really nurture him and try and teach him to get to the same standard as everyone else on the team. He didn't just write him off straight away, which is what Michelle wanted him to do.
I haven't given up on Kingston yet. I know he's very talented, but is he good enough to be on this team? I mean, I really hope that he could do it.
But I do think he kind of lost his personality a little bit in season 5. He wasn't as fun. He didn't really have any funny scenes. He didn't, I don't know, like if you think of West in the earlier seasons, he said some random things sometimes, and West in season 5 was just serious, like he was just a normal person. He lost all his quirkiness, and you could easily say that's just maturity, but in season 4 he was still his West self, so not much had changed really in the space of like a year. So I think they should have kind of kept West's little quirks in, because that's what made him West. I think that Daniel was very much, he knew how he wanted things, and that's the only way he wanted it doing.
And also your upper body. I thought we worked on from here. I don't want you cheating and bringing the arm to second. I just want the left side to meet in with the right side. Keep your core a little stronger.
Pretty sure I did that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't, and that's why I gave you the correction. Do it again.
Okay.
Finish the pirouette cleanly, and then change and go to Amy.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, there was actually. You dipped in your releve, and I don't want that. Pull up through the supporting leg
when,
and really
when did
find
I dip in
at the very end when you change your spot.
It was very much like Daniel put himself up here and the dancers down here. Like, I think the authority went to his head a little bit. I don't know who my favourite studio head was or my favourite choreographer, but I know that the best pairing for me was Michelle and Emily. I think they worked together beautifully in season 6. Like, they evened each other out, they worked on each other's pros and cons. Like Emily's strictness contrasted Michelle's kindness, but it went to an even level. They just worked really well as studio head and choreographer and co-studio heads. I don't know what their official titles were, but I really enjoyed them. I thought they were great, so they're definitely my favourites. If you guys want to leave your opinions on your favourite studio head or choreographer down below, then please do that. I like to read them and, you know, just find out you guys' opinions. Make sure you like this video and definitely subscribe, because we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers pretty soon, and when we do that I'll be very happy. Yes, so I'll see you next week for a new good... Bye guys.